What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chuds BBQ. My name is Bradley Robinson, and today I'm going to show you how I made this beautiful, delicious, smoky, Central Texas style barbecue spread featuring smoked brisket, pork spare ribs, jalapeno cheddar sausage with homemade bread, house-made pickles, pickled onions, homemade barbecue sauce, and of course, some Miller Lite. Coming up! We did it, folks. We made it to 100,000 subscribers, and I could not be more pumped. So thank you to all of you for hitting that little red button below this video. I could not be more grateful. It's the first major milestone for any YouTube channel, and I couldn't be happier that we made it there in about a year and a half. So to celebrate, today we're gonna go all out and make the perfect Texas barbecue spread. That's right, folks. We're doing the holy trinity of brisket, ribs, and sausage, and it is going to be delicious. This is a brisket. USDA prime brisket. Picked this up at my local grocery store. And we're gonna go through and give this thing a real quick, simple trim. Get this thing shaped up all nice. Rather unfortunate scoring this thing already, but hey, take what we can get. How you doing? Some fat, but not too much fat. Chud scrape. It's kind of an awkward looking brisket, but that's okay. And I've got plenty of videos on how to trim a brisket that go into a little bit more detail. But really, we're just trying to maximize the amount of sliceable cuts at the end of this thing. And that is looking pretty good to me. For our rub today, we're going on with some good old-fashioned SPG. This is 2-part 16 mesh black pepper, 1 part diamond crystal kosher salt, and 1/2 part granulated garlic. And we're just gonna go on nice and heavy all the way around. And don't forget the sides, folks. Looking good to me. Let's fire up the pit. On the pit we go, fatty side towards the fire, fat cap up. We're gonna be rocking this around 250, 300 degrees for the majority of the time. On this channel, I've cooked in 110 degree weather. I've cooked when there's snow on the ground, cooked in thunderstorms, and now I guess we're gonna add hail to the list. Anywho, let's do some ribs. Going full spare ribs today. It's the Texas way. First, we need to give them a nice little trim. Take off the chine bone, take off this skirt on the back, square off the end, and shape it up. Nothing to it. And these are great because they're much meatier than a St. Louis cut. St. Louis cut would be just the bone, so we get an extra inch of meat on there. Beautiful. What I'm doing now is going through the brisket and rib trimmings and separating all the meat from the fat. I chose a beautiful day to do this. So what we ended up with was 1 pound 11 ounces of beef and 1 pound 9 ounces of pork. But I've got some more trim in my freezer that I'm gonna throw in. We're probably gonna make about a 5-pound batch in total. And your beef to pork ratio is completely up to you. I'm gonna go 50-50. 2 pounds of beef, 2 pounds of pork, 1 pound of fat. While our meat chills out in the freezer for a little bit, let's go ahead and get our spices ready for our jalapeno cheddar sausage, starting with some kosher salt, pink curing salt, mustard powder, granulated garlic, some paprika, black pepper, and our binder, which is some high temp milk powder. Oh yeah. Cold meat into the bowl, and in we go with our spices. I'm also periodically gonna throw in a whole jalapeno. Make sure those get chopped up all nice. For this batch, we're going with 4 jalapenos with the seeds. Next up, we're gonna go in with our water, as well as our high temp cheddar cheese. I like to keep the cheese frozen so it doesn't get mushed up. Well, we need this, which is what we're gonna do for the next few minutes until everything becomes nice and tacky. Whew, this is cold. Looking perfect. Also, while I've got the meat grinder out, I'm gonna send the rest of this beef fat through, render it down and make some tallow. That way nothing goes to waste. I just made a little test patty of this jalapeno sausage, and it needs a little bit more heat. So in with some more jalapenos we go. Probably 6 total. Going on with some good old-fashioned hog casings today. Tie it off. Just making some nice, plump little weens. And just like that, we've got ourselves a whole bunch of beautiful-looking jalapeno cheddar sausages. Now we're gonna get these smoked off with a new method I've been playing around with, which is an actual true cold smoke. So what I'm gonna do is pop these on this little metal bar, and into the mini chud box they go. Looking real nice, make sure none of them are touching each other. Then we bust out the old cold smoker. Hickory sawdust, and I'm simply gonna light it on this end, and it's gonna slowly burn all the way around, giving us a nice amount of smoke with minimal heat. And I'll go into more detail on this smoking method in a future sausage making video. Making white bread is super easy. Into the bowl of a stand mixer, we're going in with some warm water, some yeast, and 1 egg. Give that a nice little whisk, get that egg broken up. Then in a separate bowl, we're gonna go in with our all-purpose flour, some dough conditioner, some white sugar, and some kosher salt. Get that mixed together nicely. From there, we're gonna go in with our flour mixture little by little until we have a wonderfully formed dough ball. Once you have a cohesive dough ball, we're going in with some softened butter, a little bit at a time, to slowly knead in. Once all that butter works itself into a greased bowl, this goes. We'll let that double in size for the next hour or so. While we wait for the dough to rise, let's make some pickles. Our brine starts out with some water and some white vinegar, to which we're gonna add some kosher salt and some white granulated sugar. Whisk that up until it's completely dissolved. Then, to some mason jars, we're gonna go in with some fresh dill, some garlic, and then some pickling spice. You can buy it pre-made or improvise, with some yellow mustard seeds, red pepper flakes, allspice berries, some black peppercorns, and a couple of cloves, in with our little cucumbers. And we top these off with our brine. To cook these pickles, I'm gonna try a technique I saw binging with Babish do, where instead of doing a hot brine poured over, he popped the jars in a sous vide bath for a few hours. So, in they go at 140 degrees for the next 2.5 hours. We're making pickled onions too, by the way. To these red onions, we're gonna go in with some caraway seeds, some coriander seeds, and some black peppercorns. Equal parts water and white vinegar, white sugar, and some kosher salt. Once that is boiling, onto the onions we go. Only making a little bit of a mess. Let these cool down and then into the fridge they go. 2 hours later, let's check on our bread dough. And as you may notice, that's not doubled in size. Turns out my yeast was dead. Always test your yeast, folks. Rookie move. Time to start over. Barbecue sauce, super simple. Get yourself a sauce pot and throw in some apple cider vinegar and some Worcestershire sauce. Bring that up to a simmer. We're gonna throw in some dried chilies, 2 Ancho Chilis, 2 California chilies, and 2 chili de arbol for a little bit of heat. We're gonna simmer these until they're nice and soft. Once softened, into the blender they go. Along with some brown sugar, kosher salt, paprika, granulated garlic, some cumin, and some black pepper. Now we go in with some ketchup and some mustard. Couldn't be simpler. We're just about 10 hours into this brisket cook and I have yet to lift that door because, well, I've been a little busy. But let's see how it's looking. Ooh, looking real nice and feeling very hot. Ow. Beautiful bark on there, smelling fantastic. We're giving it the foil boat. Reading right around 180 degrees internal, 178 in the middle. Back on the pit she goes for another couple hours. All right, dough number 2, looking much better. I'm gonna stretch this out as wide as my intended loaf pan, and then roll it up. Perfect. Grease it up, and in we go. I'm now gonna let this rise for another 45 minutes and then into a 350 degree oven it goes for about 20-30 minutes until looking like a golden loaf of bread. Boom, and just like that, we've got ourselves a beautiful looking loaf of some wonderful white bread. I'm gonna pop this in a plastic bag overnight to make sure it gets even softer and ready for tomorrow. And after 13 hours, this brisket is done, probing nice and tender. So, on this rack into my toaster oven it goes at 150 degrees to rest until we are ready to slice in. It's rib time, by the way. We're gonna rock this bit around 300 degrees for the next few hours. 2 hours later, let's give these guys a flip. That way we get a little bit more color on the underside and make sure that membrane is nice and cooked. After a nice long overnight cold smoke, these sausage links are looking beautiful. So in order to shock the casings and clean them off a little bit, I'm gonna put them into an ice bath. It's also gonna help with the color. And now these are ready to go into a vac seal bag, into the fridge, into the freezer, or right back onto the pit. After an hour, undersides are looking nice. We're gonna give them a little spritz. Today I'm going with some good old hot sauce. Beautiful, gotta love that. Flip these back over so we can start spritzing the top and let these finish cooking. Love it. After 5 hours, these are coming off and looking nice and red. So we're gonna sauce it up with our house-made barbecue sauce. Ooh, beautiful. We're gonna flip these over, meat side down, wrap them up, and pop them back on the pit to continue cooking.
You know, I like it a little bit. Nice buns, hon.
Ooh, that's a thick boy. Oops. Let's see how this brisket came out, shall we? Starting on the lean, just the tip. Nice 1/4 inch slices. Folks, you know the drill. I don't think I've ever sliced a full brisket on this channel before, but we got a crowd today, so we're going all in. Yeah, it looks pretty good to me. That smoke ring, good Lord. Gotta love that lean. A little center cut lean shot for you. I don't know. John, does that look dry to you?
No.
Lean, sliced up. Let's go for the fatty, shall we? Crunchy bark. Best bite, folks, that burn end. Would you just look at it? Carl.
Oh, would you look at that?
Gotta love that prime beef. Unbelievable render on that. Crunchy bark. Yes, please. Little center cut fatty for you. And again, that's the reason for the aggressive trim, is all of this is gonna be usable, except for maybe this end piece, which is looking a little wonky, but more burn ends. Beautiful looking brisket. But we're not done there. I mean, do I even need to say anything, folks? Texas style pork ribs for the win. I cut them upside down. Right between the bones, folks. I mean, that's a pretty good looking rib to me. As for these sausages, these went back on the pit at 275 degrees for about 30 minutes just to get nice and crispy. And I gotta say, they are feeling nice and plump, but oh, we got a squirter. But don't take my word for it. Yes, please. But real quick, let's get a snap test on this. Yeah, I'd say that's snappy. Nice and cheesy. Full of jalapenos, full of cheese, full of flavor. And look at these beautiful homemade pickles. Look at that beautiful spread, folks. Tender foil boat brisket, tangy sauce, pickles, onions, some lovely looking ribs, and that sausage. This is the way to do it. Ladies, can I interest you in some barbecue?
Hell yeah!
Dive on in.
Did you grab another one?
I want to grab. Look at that. What? Fatty. Onion. Bread. Don't forget the bread. Bink. Oh my god. Off the bone.
As the only other barbecue cutter here, will you slice up this other rack of ribs for me?
I would love to. And the end cut for Papa.
Yes, Daddy.
Oh yeah, that was perfect.
Can you give me a sausage pop?
Yeah. Oh. And the best part about white bread is it's a napkin. Oh yeah.
You know what the best sound after you cook food for people is? Silence. Silence.
Brooke.
Yeah.
I think it's time for the official taste test.
I think so.
Good girl.
All right, y'all, and that is it. That is how to make the ultimate Texas barbecue spread. If you're up for a challenge, I highly recommend giving this a try for yourself. I know it's a lot of work, but hey, I can do it. And there's a snake in my boot. It's also really rewarding and a great way to feed your friends and family. I also want to thank all of you again for helping me reach 100,000 subscribers. I couldn't be more happy about that. And you know I'm going to plan something big for the next big milestone. Speaking of which, if you enjoyed this video, please let me know by hitting that subscribe button. Drop a comment down below letting me know what you want to see me cook next. If you do give this a try for yourself, be sure to tag me on Instagram at Chuds BBQ. I'd love to see what y'all are cooking. Big shout out to all the Patreon members. Thank you for supporting Team Chud and allowing me to keep making all these videos. And until the next time I see you, please go cook something outside. Peace!